Good evening. With more than a year to the 2027 elections, the political temperatures in the country are rising steadily. Tonight, we'll be taking a look at how the political events have been unfolding, and later on, we'll be taking a look at your weekly dose of matters environment on Greenfix. But first, to the highlights. Tonight, TV47 journalists assaulted by goons during former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's homecoming event. On the day, the former Deputy President and his convoy was blocked from entering Kamukunji grounds. Also tonight, National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has issued a stern warning to lawmakers, urging them to uphold integrity and stop absenteeism.
We must act responsibly, whether we are being oversighted or not, because that is a cardinal duty. And healthcare workers led by the Kenya Union of Nurses hold protests outside Afya House, accusing certain county governments of discrimination. Catherine Sibaloi is on the sign language docket. I'm yours truly, Stanley. Nyaringita 22047 is our SMS number. Talk to us and tell us what you think. First off, what was meant to be a triumphant homecoming for former Deputy President and DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua turned into a day of celebration, shadowed by chaos. His entourage, on its way to Kamukunji grounds, found itself ambushed by suspected goons who blocked access routes with stones and temporarily paralyzed traffic. The violence, which played out along sections of Mombasa Road, sparked finger-pointing, with Gachagwa's allies accusing the government of complicity and blaming Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen for failing to curb the disruption. TV47's Sydney Chozima was on the ground and filed this report.
Thursday, the 21st of August 2025, the day marked for the much-anticipated return of DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua, had his supporters buzzing with expectation. The chatter and excitement in and out of the JKIA airport spoke of a fan base eagerly waiting for a leader who they had grown accustomed to watching only on TV and social media during his tour of the USA. And for the few we spoke to, their joy was an open secret.
Yetu ni kumkaribisha na kumlaki kwa shangwe na vigelegele. Tunamwambia karibu nyumbani. Nyumbani inakuhitaji zaidi. Kenya inakuhitaji zaidi.
Na sisi tunajua saa hii Mungu amewashara na Sauli yule tulisimama naye hapo mbele. Saa hii Mungu ametunenea tuweke mafuta kwa mwingine Daundi na sio mwingine ni His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua.
Na sisi hatuna fujo na mtu, hatuna vurugo na mtu. Nia yetu ni hiyo tu, kumpokea Rigathi Gachagua, na ningetaka niombe serikali kwamba wasituvuruge, maanake sisi hatuna shida na yeyote.
After close to an hour of waiting, I mentioned that Gachagua was almost cleared to check out, had his supporters rushing towards the international arrival section. One tap. But in a twist of events, Gachagua would appear from the VIP section, but still, his spirited fan base made its way, much to Gachagua's surprise. Under their shield, perhaps from fear that he would be detained by the police, Gachagua was whisked into his vehicle and would later greet the excited crowd atop the vehicle's sunroof. His convoy then quickly sneaked out of the airport, heading towards the announced venue at Kamukunji grounds. Amidst the heavy traffic snarl-up caused by Gachagua's entourage and an overhead surveillance from a chopper believed to belong to the National Police, suspected goons waylaid them close to the Cabanas interchange, which leads towards Eastlands, Nairobi, and eventually to Kamukunji. Stones were hurled at vehicles, forcing some to make a U-turn. And when the turmoil subsided, leaders present resorted to address the entourage along Mombasa Road, just a few kilometers ahead of the Next Gen Mall. Their target, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, whom they accuse of looking the other way as goons disrupted their procession.
As we speak, there is a helicopter going round here coordinating goons. Coordinating goons. We want to tell William Ruto, desperate at the way you are, but it is here. Everybody can see. Shame on you, William Ruto. Unatumia goons. Lakini Rigathi Gachagua upende usipende, ni kiongozi wetu, tunampenda.
Tungetaka kuambia serikali ya kwamba sisi hatutaomba ushauri wa kupiga meno mswaki kutoka kwa kibogoyo. Ameshindwa tayari kuongoza serikali, sasa anakuja kutatiza nyinyi.
Na hawa vijana wa Nairobi, sisi tunataka tuambie Sakaja na Aladwa, hawatatuzoea hawa watu. Hawatatuzoea hawa watu. Sisi tuko na haki ya kufanya mikutano. Mutashikilia Rigiji mpaka mwisho. Ati William Ruto anasema yeye ni two term. Yeye ni two term kweli? William Ruto ni nini?
The convoy would then make its way through the Ole Sereni interchange and onto the southern bypass, aiming towards Karen, escorting Gachagua to his residence. And that would mark the end of the day, laden with excitement and pockets of chaos. Gachagua is expected to make his address to the nation in the coming days, marking the return of the opposition's most vocal leader. The arrival of DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua from the United States is expected to bolster the opposition, which is said to have been dormant since his departure. Sydney Chazima reporting for TV47 from the JKIA.
And some sad news here. TV47, Citizen TV and Standard Group journalists were attacked by goons during the arrival of DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua. Goons hurled stones, assaulted and stole from the journalists who were covering the event, as Samira Mohammed now reports.
During the arrival of the DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua, goons were captured along the roads attacking people. Among them, TV47 journalists Jones Nganga, Mike Agwongo and their driver Eric Kyoko. The three were attacked in their line of duty along Mombasa Road as they covered Rigathi's arrival.
Nilifinywa na vijana kama 4 hivi. Nilisikia nimeinuliwa, nimewekwa chini na watu kama 4. Wakandarulia trouser yangu upande wa nyuma, wakachukua simu na ufunguo.
The goons also stole their items, among them their mobile phones, camera and other valuables before assaulting them.
Nyuma yangu Jones alikuwa amesimama, akajaribu kutoroka Jones, lakini wakamshika wengine kama 5. Wakamnyang'anya kamera na simu pia ilikuwa kwa mfuko.
The attack, now seen as a way of silencing the media, has been condemned by the head of TV47 Macharia Wamogo and the Cape Media Management, calling for safety of journalists by all relevant authorities. Journalists from Citizen TV and Standard Media Group were also attacked during the attack. Citizen TV's Wilberforce Ogunga is nursing injuries after the goons hurled stones at him and his colleagues.
Jipata tuko katikati ya goons pande ile ya side ya Rigathi, na kulikuwa na wengine kutoka hii side nyingine walikuwa wamezuia hiyo magari ya kutoka kwa Rigiji isiteremke chini. So in that confusion kuhepa ndio mimi niliona giza nikashindwa, so kuangalia hivi nilikuwa nafikiria actually macho yangu imetoka.
Ogunga was in the company of his colleagues in their car when the goons attacked them. This is not the first time the media has been attacked in their line of duty.
They are risking lives za watu wako innocent kama journalists. Sisi sasa ni kama tunajipata all the time kwa sababu it's not even it's like 2 months ago I was in the same tukiwa pipeline nikapigwa mawe. And I think
mara nyingi hao wahuni wanapoona wanahabari wengi huwa wanakimbia kwa sababu hawataki kumulikwa. Lakini of late tangu 25th June last year wanahabari wamekuwa wakiatakiwa, wakiumizwa, wakinyang'anywa vifaa vyao vya kazi, vifaa vyao personal vile. Lakini ni jambo ambalo linasikitisha sana.
He expected a heroic reception following his over 1 month trip at the United States, but instead was met with attacks by goons. Now all attention shifts to the National Police Service on whether they will arrest Rigathi Gachagua or the goons. Samira Mohammed for TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you very much, Samira Mohammed. And the media fraternity entirely condemns this particular attack to this particular journalist, and the Cape Media joins the media fraternity. Earlier on, you had particularly seen that statement by head of TV47, Macharia Wamugo, just basically saying that the attackers had injured this journalist, and that Cape Media strongly condemning the attack on press freedom and is calling for swift investigations and enhanced safety for journalists in the field. Now, let's take a look at still more news on former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, whose allies have vowed the opposition will not be intimidated into silence after Thursday's attack on their convoy along Mombasa Road. Stones were hurled at the motorcade, forcing it to a halt. Led by DAPK Deputy Party Leader Cleophas Malala, the allies insist they will not relent in their push to make President William Ruto a one-term president. A senior political affairs reporter, Apollo Kamau, reports.
What started as a perfect homecoming tour for DCP party leader and former DP Rigathi Gachagua ended in chaos and condemnation as Gachagua's convoy was attacked by stone-throwing youth along Mombasa Road. Gachagua's allies, led by Deputy Party Leader Cleophas Malala, saying the opposition will not be cowed into silence, vowing to push with a one-term campaign to send President William Ruto home in 2027.
Mutashikilia Rigiji mpaka mwisho. Ati William Ruto anasema yeye ni two-term. Yeye ni two-term kweli? William Ruto ni nini? Aende asiende? Apotee asipotee? Wewe William Ruto, wewe. We want to tell you, no amount of intimidation, no amount of police tear gas, no amount of goons will stop you from becoming a one-term president. Aende asiende?
In the wake of Thursday's chaos that cut short the convoy's intended destination in Nairobi's Central Business District due to the goon attack, Gachagua's allies alleged Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja and Makadara MP George Ladwa sponsored the chaos.
Onyo kali kwa governor wa Nairobi. Wewe Governor Sakaja, hii tabia ni tabia ya watoto. Na tunakuambia tafadhali, upende usipende, utakwenda nyumbani. Sisi tunataka tuambie Sakaja na Ladwa, hawatatuzoea hawa watu. Hawatatuzoea hawa watu. Sisi tuko na haki ya kufanya mikutano. Wamekuwa wakipiga risasi gari za Mheshimiwa Rigathi kila mahali wanaenda. And if William Ruto, if you want to kill Rigathi Gachagua, we want to tell you, it won't be business as usual. Na wametupangia pale hivyo, wametugojea pale hivi kabanas, na tumejua watu wa violence ni akina nani, si ni kweli? Tunaambia Kasongo, siasa ya violence hatutaki. Mimi gari yangu hata haina kioo, yote imemwagwa. Lakini nataka kukuambia wewe Kasongo, siku ya kifo ya nyani ikifika, miti yote inafanya nini? Hii wiki umekosana na bunge. Hauna mbunge amebaki, hata wala ulikuwa unaita wako.
DCP and the opposition fraternity now wants the international community to intervene due to what they termed as the worsening human rights situation in the country, asking the international community to call out President William Ruto during the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York next month.
We want to tell the international community that they are the only ones that can rescue Kenya from Kasongo, because As we speak, there is a helicopter going round here coordinating goons.
Wale wamesema mimi ni terrorist, lakini nataka kuambia leo, wewe your excellency the president wa Kenya, leo you need to know you have no moral authority to address this nation on matters terrorism. You have no moral authority to address this nation on matters corruption, and you have no moral authority ya kusema wewe unasimamia haki ya Wakenya.
Despite the much-hyped march to Nairobi CBD having stalled, Gachagua and his allies have vowed to sustain their attacks against President William Ruto's administration. Apol Kamau, TV47 in Nairobi.
Thank you very much, Apollo, for that. Still in matters politics, members of parliament are now defending the bicameral house against allegations of corruption and bribery claims in the passage of bills. The lawmakers insist that the war on corruption should not be singled out on parliament alone, but must be fought collectively across all arms of government. Our senior political affairs reporter Elizabeth Mutuku with the details.
Just days after President William Ruto accused both National Assembly and Senate of being riddled with corruption and bribery, particularly in the passage of legislation, the focus is now turning back to Parliament's leadership.
Kila mtu atauchukua mzigo wake mwenyewe.
The legislators are now pointing an accusing finger to the two speakers of bicameral house for what they call a deafening silence in face of such grave allegations. They argue that by now the speakers should have publicly defended the integrity of Parliament, or at very least issued a statement addressing the president's claim, which they say have deeply damaged the public perception of the house.
Executive haina mamlaka ya ku-oversight the legislature. Yani yeye president vile amefanya, flip the coin. Sasa imekuwa badala ya the legislature to oversight the executive, sasa yeye ndiye ana-oversight legislature. Hiyo iwezekani.
This is some legislators are now demanding that President William Ruto to appear before the Powers and Privileges Committee to substantiate his allegations. They've gone a step further, threatening to table a motion of impeachment against the speakers should they fail to uphold and protect the dignity and independence of Parliament.
That under Standing Order 191, where we have our Powers and Privileges Committee, the Powers and Privileges Committee 191(1)(a) is allowed to summon any person to appear before it for the purposes of giving evidence or providing information.
Some members of Parliament who previously remained loyal to the executive and even admitted to passing certain bills under heavy influence from presidency now say the recent allegations by President Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga have been a wake-up call, this as they urge the Speaker to help Parliament reclaim its independence. In the recent months, some MPs have been routinely meeting at State House ahead of key legislative votes, a practice now facing growing backlash from within.
Mr. Speaker, I want to urge you as the leader of this House to do whatever it can, Mr. Speaker, to defend the integrity of this House. And there are certain things that we must stop doing. First of all, we have what I would call an unholy dalliance with the executive. That was very unpopular. We passed it for him. This president gave us a housing levy. Very unpopular. We passed it for him. This president has asked us to pass SHA. We sat here until 10 p.m. Passed it for him. What have we done for him? What has this parliament not done for president that he now has to come and bastardize us?
Mr. Speaker, we have been behaving as if we were conveyor belts for the executive. We have been called to State House, been lectured on government policy, and we have never let down the government of the day.
In response, Speaker Wetangula has acknowledged receiving complaints implicating some members in corruption, but says the matters were handled internally and discreetly. question begs on whether Parliament will be able to remove itself from corruption storm, even as blame game rages on. Elizabeth Mutuku, Parliament Buildings, Nairobi.
Thank you very much, Liz Mutuku. Mr. Speaker has been mentioned, so let's listen into what actually the Speaker said. National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has issued a stern warning to members of Parliament, urging them to shun corruption, absenteeism and their unethical conduct, saying such behavior risks undermining public confidence in the House. Our Mombasa reporter Quinto Wafula was at the third leadership retreat of the 13th Parliament, where Wetangula made the remarks. A forum aimed at reinforcing integrity and transparency amid mounting corruption allegations. Here is his report.
National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has underscored the importance of integrity in parliamentary leadership, warning MPs that persistent allegations of bribery to influence legislation have shaken public confidence in the House. This as he urged lawmakers to confront the claims decisively rather than dismiss them.
You don't have to do it because you are being watched. You do it because it's important to do it anyway. So wherever we are, we must act responsibly, whether we are being oversighted or not, because that is a cardinal duty in human life.
The Speaker further criticized MPs for poor session attendance and failure to meet quorum, which he said continues to delay House business. The Speaker now calling on legislators to strike a balance between parliamentary duties and constituency responsibilities.
I don't agree, I don't know who said here, that when you have a business as a chair, you must be in the House. As a chair, you must be in the House regardless.
House Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, on his part, has raised concern over what he termed as misleading narratives about parliamentary proceedings, saying they undermine credibility and achievements of the institution, also urging those spreading falsehoods to seek facts.
It is up to us here to reclaim that glory, that dignity and that integrity that the institution of parliament comes with in any democracy.
Minority Leader Junet Mohammed pressed MPs to fast-track the Roads Amendment Bill 2025, warning that stalling the legislation could cripple key infrastructure projects. He also lamented court decisions that continue to annul laws passed by the parliament.
They need to come clear to us how easy it is to make a bill an act of parliament and constitutional.
The retreat offers lawmakers an opportunity to evaluate their performance, craft strategies to restore integrity, strengthen oversight, and rebuild public trust in the legislature. Quinto Wafula, TV47, Mombasa.
To health matters now, the national nurses' strike continues to wreak havoc across the country, leaving hundreds of patients in public hospitals stranded without crucial medical care. The nurses' union is accusing some county governments of blatant discrimination and lack of goodwill in addressing the demands. However, in a rare breakthrough, Machakos County has struck a deal with its nurses, bringing to an end a week-long stalemate that had paralyzed services. Elizabeth Atino, our health reporter, tells us more.
Deserted hospital corridors, empty hospital beds, and patients in distress is the scene witnessed in different public health facilities following a nurses' strike that has today entered its 13th day. The Kenya National Union of Nurses, through its Secretary General Seth Panyako, has refuted political interference and tribalism claims made by the Trans Nzoia County government.
They are not based on any fact, they are null and void, because the union in Trans Nzoia has almost all the communities living in Trans Nzoia. For example, our chairperson is Cyprian Nyakundi, who is a Kisii.
Nurses from Trans Nzoia, Nairobi, Bomet, Busia, Isiolo, Lamu are still on strike, while those from Kwale, Elgeyo Marakwet, Siaya, Kitui, Kisumu, Migori, Kilifi, Uasin Gishu, and Machakos have called off their strike.
The strike that had affected the provision of medical services within our facilities is now suspended. We expect provision of services in our facilities to resume to normalcy immediately.
Our government has agreed, number one, to clear our loans
by 30th of September. The government has agreed to implement our nursing services allowance and at 10,000 per month with the arrears backdated. They've agreed to pay our uniform service allowance, which has increased to 25,000 from 10,000.
Some of the grievances tabled by the nurses include poor working conditions for the nurses within the public health system, failure by the county governments to implement the salary structure proposed by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission (SRSC) on the 12th of September 2024, as well as lack of implementation of the return to work formula agreed upon on the 2nd of November 2017.
Strike notice cited failure by various employers to honor their obligations and duties as established by law, despite repeated engagements and attempts to resolve those grievances.
Additionally, the Nurses Union has accused counties of failing to negotiate and finalize the collective bargaining agreements, as well as failure by various government entities to remit third-party deductions, a move they say amounts to financial misconduct. On a positive note, the Nurses Union says there has been commendable progress in the negotiations with some county governments. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47, Nairobi.
To the corridors of justice now, the legal battle surrounding activist Boniface Mwangi took a new twist today, with the Director of Public Prosecutions being granted 2 weeks to complete forensic analysis on electronic devices seized during his arrest on the 19th of July. At the same time, the Kibera High Court has dismissed terrorism charges against 3 other activists known as the Muthaiga Three, citing insufficient evidence. Sheila Chelangat has more.
Thursday morning, activist Boniface Mwangi appeared at the Kahawa Law Courts in a case where he has been charged with illegal possession of firearms. It has been 1 month since his arrest at his home on July 19th. During his arrest, his electronic devices were confiscated, hence his legal team request today, seeking to have these electronics returned to their client.
The performance of the children was hindered during the last exams that they had. Schools open on Monday, they still don't have these devices. So it is our hope that when we come back on the 4th of September, that will have been resolved and he can have his devices back.
The prosecution has now been given 2 weeks to complete the investigation into the electronics seized from the activist.
These are spurious charges, unfounded charges. These are politically motivated charges. And we are here. We are steady and we are ready to fight these charges.
This case will be heard next on the 4th of September. Elsewhere, 7 protesters who were arrested and charged with terrorism were arraigned in court today. Their families say the past 2 months have been difficult for them.
Ni kuomba pesa ya kuja kila mara. Juu mimi sifanyi kazi, mimi ni mzee, baba yake bado ni mzee, na kwetu hatufanyi kazi, na saa hii hakuna kitu tunaweza uza tupate pesa.
And now they're calling on the government to dismiss the terrorism charges against their kin.
Tunaweza omba serikali iwaondolee hii kesi. Kila kitu yani wakuwe nao clear. Hata hakuna pali wataenda kuweka kidore waonekane wao ni terrorist. Sababu sasa itakuwa gumu sasa kwa maisha. Na ni vijana wadogo tu.
Also today, the Kibra High Court dismissed terrorism charges against 3 activists, now known as Muthaiga Three, who were arrested after the protest on the 25th of June this year, citing lack of sufficient evidence. Sheila Chelangat for TV47.
And still in court, in the ongoing murder trial of ex-police officer Ahmed Rashid, government pathologist Dr. Ndegwa Mujuki has told the court that 2 young men shot in Eastleigh died from multiple gunshot wounds. The first victim was shot 4 times, while the second sustained 6 bullets. Forensic investigator Peter Omolo also testified, taking the court through crime scene photographs and reconstructions. Today's session marks the end of the first phase of hearings, with 6 more witnesses expected to testify from the 1st of September.
Yes, because I did not visit the scene. It was visited by my colleague whom I know.
Well, that's sufficient.
Yes.
It's also possible that had you had opportunity of visiting the scene personally, you probably would have come to a different opinion from the conclusions of your predecessor at FACSA.
And police have unearthed 6 bodies in Kwabinzaro village, Kilifi County, in a chilling exhumation, suspected to be linked to mass graves. Detectives have identified 21 sites believed to be holding human remains, just kilometers from the Shakahola forest. The search is expected to resume tomorrow, as Susan Locho now tells us.
In the village of Kwabinzaro, just a few kilometers from the now infamous Shakahola forest, where more than 400 people reportedly died from starvation in a tragedy linked to a doomsday cult, lies the 27 suspected graves. Police have begun an exhumation exercise following leads by homicide detectives who marked the graves believed to contain human remains. So far, 5 bodies have been exhumed from the site, some still fresh, while other remains were recovered in fragments.
Today we managed to exhume 6. Of the 6 graves, we found 5 bodies, and then also around that area we found 10 different scattered body parts.
Officers have confirmed that the exhumation exercise will resume tomorrow. Homicide detectives say they returned to the 5-acre site as part of the preparation for the planned exhumation. While mapping the grounds, they discovered new graves scattered across the area, some shallow with visible human bones and skulls.
Now, we expect also to find more graves because we have not exhausted the search, because the area is very, very vast. So we expect more bodies.
Officers are urging the public to come forward with any information they might have and remain calm as the exhumation exercise continues.
So ile kitu ningeomba ni vile daktari amesema, tutasaidiana sisi wote kuhakikisha kwamba tumefanya hii kazi mpaka tumalize. Wananchi wenzangu hapa tumeongea na hawa kwamba watatusaidia wakati wanatembea kwa hii msitu. Wakipata pahali wana suspect kuna mili, tunaomba sana tusaidiane.
Authorities say they remain committed to uncovering the full story behind the graves, calling on the community to stay vigilant and cooperate as the investigations unfolds. Susan Locho, TV47.
31 minutes past the top of the hour. You're watching Daily Report. Catherine Simole on sign language interpretation. We're taking a short break. When we come back, more news, including matters green fix all the way around at 10 p.m. Don't go too far. Also coming up after the break. Beekeepers in Siaya are raising the alarm over the use of harmful pesticides banned in the European Union but still reaching Kenya. They warn the chemicals are endangering bee colonies and threatening honey production and pollination.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Fureke tonight. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Fureke is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Anyway, furahia umekaa na kasipuni. CP unit ni Punet. Ni Punet. Punet. So you guys knew about Piga. Sawa basi. Nasema, hata ungevi the whole time.
I don't want to go back to brokenness.
Never.
I just love the high life. Siwezi taka kuimagine ati nimesota.
You'll have to watch to find out. Tune in every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m.
Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Winston Churchill.
Welcome back. This is the Daily Report. Karibu sana. My name is Stanley. Nyaringita. On sign language interpretation is Catherine Simaloi. Let's continue updating you on what is happening. A family in Kiambu is living through 5 years of anguish after their son was detained in the United Arab Emirates under what they believe are false accusations. James Kariuki, who left for the Gulf in search of employment in 2020, is said to have fallen victim to a fraud syndicate after his documents were stolen and used in criminal activities. His family now claims he is bearing the punishment for a crime he did not commit, and they are pleading with both Nairobi and Abu Dhabi to intervene. Josh Ansare has the details.
For 5 years, the family of James Kariuki, a Kenyan detained in the United Arab Emirates, has lived in despair, holding on to hope that he will one day return home. Kariuki, who maintains his innocence, remains incarcerated after being convicted in a complex fraud case that his family insists was orchestrated by imposters using his stolen identity. Speaking from their Kangoya village, Kiambu home, during a Catholic church mass to offer spiritual comfort and divine intervention to the family, Kariuki's father, John Thiongo, expressed the anguish of watching his son suffer in a foreign land.
Nimehangaika huko. Sina ripoti hata moja iko. Ugonjwa tu na wengine kutokea watu waweze kusaidia waangalie maneno.
The family has noted that it has sought help from various government offices without success, despite the case being discussed in Parliament and even raised with Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi.
Sasa tumekwama, tunatafuta pesa tupate, tunaenda huko kwa serikali tusaidiwe, tunakaa tu hivyo tunangojea Mungu.
Kariuki is reported to have traveled to UAE in May 2020 after losing his job as a security guard in Kenya. While searching for work there, he encountered a Nigerian national who promised him employment, but allegedly disappeared with his identification documents, which were later used in fraudulent activities.
Ile kitambulisho yake iliibiwa, alipeana kuko kutafuta kazi, ilifanya kazi ya wiki. Ambaye alistakiwa na kufungwa jela mwaka moja na alafu afanyiwe deportation.
The family is now appealing to both the Kenyan and UAE governments to intervene and secure Kariuki's release, saying he is being unfairly punished for crimes committed by fraudsters.
Ati tuseme kama aliiba akaiba Kenya, hakuna kitu ameiba, ilienda mkora. Sasa mimi nikuomba tu serikali imsaidie, aongee na mwenye kuibua huko na serikali ya huko Dubai, waone vile watafanya ama wafanye vizuri zaidi.
Serikali ya Ruto na kabineti yake wajaribu juu chini juu, hakuna kitu inaweza kuwa ngumu kwao. Waturudishie tu Kariuki, tutashukuru. Juu hata hawa wazazi watulie, wanakuwa na muda mzito sana kwao.
Josh Onsare, TV47.
And meanwhile, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has unveiled a new national multi-agency team tasked with leading sting operations against illicit alcohol, hard drugs and adulterated ethanol. The unit, he says, will work with law enforcement, health agencies and local authorities to stem the growing crisis that has claimed lives and destabilized communities. The CS Murkomen made the announcement in Nyeri County ahead of a Jukwaa la Usalama event. Chichi Josephine has more.
Speaking during the Nyeri chapter of the Jukwaa la Usalama Security Engagement Forum, Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen announced the formation of a national multi-agency team to carry out sting operations across the country against drugs and adulterated ethanol.
There is still challenges here, particularly related to second-generation alcohol and adulterated ethanol. We are going to establish a national multi-agency team that will work together between NACADA, National Police Service, KEBS, and KRA, particularly those agencies, to work together.
The CR is vowing to ensure continuous crackdowns until the vice is decimated, not only in the central parts of the country, but also in other parts where the establishments are operating with illegal licenses or none. These, as he noted that the multi-agency team will be coordinated from Nairobi, where the region and county need support.
For those who are expecting me to have a formal appointment for them, it will not happen. So you will not get an opportunity to do a court order. But we will work together in a multi-agency team, coordinated from Nairobi, so that then we can together do these operations where we think that the regional and county teams need support. The national team will come in to help them from time to time until we get rid of this issue of alcohol in our country.
While regretting that Nyeri is a transit point for the rogue dealers who take advantage of young people to supply the goods, Murkomen also announced that the search for suspected business moguls who have been operating without genuine licenses and dealing in illegal trade has been intensified in Nyeri County.
The only sad story is that there are many bars that are operating without license. So the issue is to have a joint enforcement between the counties themselves, because they have an enforcement department of the counties with the help of the police officers and the security team and NACADA to close these bars.
Chichi Josephine, TV47.
Let's talk about matters classrooms now. And Kenya's education sector is at a turning point, with policymakers and stakeholders engaged in a national dialogue on how to transform learning to meet the demands of a rapidly changing world. From the shift to competency-based education to investments in teachers and infrastructure, the conversation is centered on how to produce skilled, innovative and values-driven leaders. Our reporter Faith Ongare was at the Stakeholders Forum in Nairobi and filed this report.
In a rapidly changing world, the conversation around education is gaining momentum, focusing on transforming the system to nurture excellent students and power the next generation of visionary leaders.
We are introducing a very important initiative called the Blueprint for Transforming Education. So this is a strategic framework to transform people, right? So with the ultimate goal as to transform the nation.
Stakeholders from the Global Peace Foundation, in collaboration with other education partners, gathered at Regis School in Runda to discuss how to enhance education for national development and global competitiveness. Led by Tony Devine, Vice President of Education at Global Peace Foundation, the discussion emphasized a shift from the current CBC to CBE.
What is called Child-Friendly Schools Initiative, where learners of all types, all calibers, even learners with challenges are also taken care of.
The CBE, we initiated this conversation because we were saying that the education that we have, the system we have today is basically a 300-year-old system. So it is up to now Africa to work and transform education so that the system of education we have can work for us.
We are going to ensure that those students and members of staff in the School of Education that were supposed to engage in this even today, they will continue doing that every time within the course of the next 5 years. the duration of the partnership that we signed.
We have signed an MOU with Global Peace, and so teachers and educators who are part of Global Peace are actually eligible for these particular scholarships.
I don't think education is can be confined to any age. Education is a moment from the time you're born to the time you die. You're either learning or you're teaching or you're impacting. So as a community, that would say transforming education in the next 50 years, we'd cover all aspects of schooling.
Between policy, practice and people, ensuring that no learner.
Most of the model promotes hands-on skill, critical thinking and innovation among learners. Participants also raise the need for increased funding and improved infrastructure to ensure quality education is accessible to all students regardless of their background. A strong call was made to recruit continuously trained teachers, reinforcing the teachers and infrastructure is a critical pillar of meaningful education reform. This dialogue has been described as a key step towards transforming education for both current and future generations. Faith Wangari, TV47, Nairobi.
Let's talk business now. And Etihad Airways is dipping its footprint in Kenya with a major expansion of its Nairobi route. Starting December the 15th, the airline will increase flights from 4 to 14 weekly, more than tripling capacity within just a year of launch. The move will add 1,600 seats per week, bringing total capacity to over 2,200. Etihad says the expansion signals confidence in Kenya's aviation market and will open up connections to more than 80 global destinations while also boosting tourism into the country.
Kenyan economy is doing very well, right? So people in Kenya are traveling abroad, whether it's for business or whether it's for leisure. So when you have that mix, it works very well because you're not just heavily reliant on one particular point of sale, as we say in commercial aviation. It's a very well diversified point of sale, which then allows for the route to be very successful. We came back into the Kenyan market in December 2024 with 4 times a week service, and we're very proud to be increasing that to 14 times a week by December 2025, which is a remarkable achievement in such a short period.
In terms of travel, we are getting more numbers, we are getting more seats availability, and we really appreciate the effort and the confidence Etihad is showing to the Kenyan market.
And in a first for Kenya's insurance market, Britam General Insurance has rolled out a dedicated electric vehicle cover targeting fully electric and hybrid cars. Quite interesting, right? Now, the policy is tailored to support the government's national e-mobility policy, which aims for 5% of new vehicle registrations to be electric by 2025. The package includes unique features such as battery protection, personal charging equipment cover and out-of-charge recovery service, with additional cover against theft, fire, floods and political violence.
Electric vehicles are high-tech in terms of repairs. Not any repairer or any mechanic can repair an EV vehicle in case of damage. So it's high-tech and therefore requires specialized services. So even the laborers themselves who do these repairs are also need to be specialized. You also need to extend to even cover home chargers because you charge your vehicle at home. You don't need to go to a petrol station to go, so you can charge your vehicle at home.
Every 5,000 kilometers, you need spark plugs, you need oil filter. A good service would cost you about 8 Gs, 10K. For electric vehicles, your first service at 25,000 kilometers, you're only checking your brake pads. Checking, not changing. Difference. Yeah, at 25,000 kilometers. 90% of your braking is done by the motor, the thing that they're covered, electric motor system.
Still in matters sustainability, Proto Energy Limited has announced major sustainability milestones for the first half of 2025, including saving over 7,000 tons of carbon emissions, the equivalent of planting more than 4,700 hectares of trees for a year. In its report, the company highlights progress in education, health and women empowerment, including transitioning 38 schools to LPG, that is liquefied petroleum gas cooking systems, hosting medical camps and training female leaders. The CEO, Joel Kamau, says the company is targeting net zero carbon by 2040 and restoration of 100 hectares of forest by 2030.
Penetration of LPG is very high in Nairobi, actually around 45%. But when you look at it in the rural market, it's only 5%, meaning the opportunity, and as the DG has said, we have a huge opportunity in Kenya to make sure that we have clean energy in our homes.
As the regulator, we, as I've said, we re-looked at the LPG regulations 2019. Now we have revised regulations of 2025 that have introduced licensing of installers, licensing of LPG cylinder manufacturers, which were not provided for in the legal notice 100 of 2019. This now sets the stage for us to be able to license manufacturers, be able to license installers, the way we do for electricity, to ensure that the quality of workmanship at the school, because one of the biggest challenges and the most emotive issues with people is their health and their children.
Right, some interesting news here for you as an internet user. Safaricom has launched a first-of-its-kind internet package in Kenya, allowing customers to pay for connectivity based on time rather than the data volume. Branded Be Live, the service seeks to give users freedom to experience the internet without counting megabytes. The telco says the move will particularly benefit students, content creators and entrepreneurs seeking flexible, affordable connectivity in a fast-growing digital economy.
We have savvy users who have been using our current bundles. Let's say, for example, our 20 GB, 20 shillings, 1 GB, 1 hour bundle. And what those customers tell us is, based on what it is that they are doing, by the time they get to 30 minutes, they have not finished what they are doing, but there's a message that comes up that tells them the 1 GB is over. Yet our promise was 1 GB in 1 hour. So the two are not correlating.
All right, that is definitely more good news for you to continue streaming our news live on YouTube. To sports news now, some matters Chan. The national soccer team Harambee Stars will tomorrow suit up in front of their ever-loyal home fans for the first time in a continental quarter-final as they take on Madagascar. The first match of the knockout stages of the African Nations Championships. Our sports reporter Boniface Kimanzi gives us more.
The national soccer team Harambee Stars will lock arms with rivals Madagascar in the first quarter-final of the 2024 Africa Nation Championship.
I think everything is okay. We are happy, we are motivated, and we are ready for tomorrow's game.
The match is scheduled to kick off at exactly 5 p.m. at the majestic and historical Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani. Austin Odhiambo, one of the Kenyan's top scorers in this African Nation Championship 2024, has expressed his readiness and the Dice squad readiness to face Madagascar in the first quarter-final of this African Nation Championship 2024.
Tumefika, kuna opponent tunaweza sema ako hivi ama hivi kwa sababu sasa tunacheza na timu zote zimeshinda kwa group zao, which hiyo na show that we need to concentrate more kwa sababu hiyo si group stage anymore. Alafu pia effort yetu kwa group stage imekuwa immense sana that tukilose match ita show something that maybe we were lucky on the group stage, which to me we were not lucky.
Benny McCarthy-led side is keen on sealing their ticket into the semi-finals of the Chan tournament for the first time in history.
I'm extremely proud that they've taken the opportunity that they were given. They were given a platform and they've rose to the occasion, and they're only going to make their own lives better.
Si mchezaji tu mmoja akiwa kwa timu, lazima tusaidie mchezaji yoyote. Coach amerotate team mara mingi na I think pia kesho atarotate, depends na yeye atakavyoamua, but anaonesha kwamba kikosi chake yeye anakiamini na kila mchezaji ako na uwezo wa kucheza.
The winner of the quarter-final tie will book themselves a date with either Algeria or Sudan in the semi-finals of Continental Showpiece.
Kuangalia ulinzi, hiyo safu ya ulinzi ikuwe sawa, na najua sisi tukiweza kupata chance yetu huko mbele tukifunga angalau hata 1-0 inaweza kushinda mechi.
We want to make a statement by tomorrow's game winning, and so that no one can say that it was by chance or by luck.
The mood across the 47 counties is intense as fans also are ready to witness another historic moment as the national team Harambee Stars is going to play against Madagascar in the first quarter-final of the African Nation Championship 2024 that is taking place in Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania. The main question remains, is Benmark the squad going to qualify for the semi-final? Boniface Kimanzi for TV47 Sports.
Thank you very much, Boniface Kimanzi, for that. And in case you actually want to attend that match, here's some interesting news and good news for you. The Confederation of African Football has granted approval for up to 36,000 fans to attend the African Nations Championship 2024 quarterfinal between Kenya and Madagascar at the Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani, on Friday, 5 p.m. This decision will, which represents 80% of the stadium's total capacity, is a significant increase from the 26,896 fans who watched Kenya's victory over Zambia last Sunday. The announcement follows recent restrictions imposed by CAF due to security breaches during a previous group stage fixture against two-time winners Morocco.
It informed Kenyans that FKF had put an appeal for the numbers in Kasarani tomorrow. And first of all, I want to thank all our fans and all Kenyans for standing together in the previous match. And the report that has now been officially presented to us by CAF reflects very good progress, that there were no issues, and they have observed that the game last Sunday was in full compliance. And as a result of that compliance process, they have considered favorably the appeal that was put forward by FKF on behalf of Kenya government. And now tomorrow we are happy to announce to all Kenyans that now in Kasarani we will have 80% attendance capacity, which has been allowed, which translates to 36,000 fans. And therefore, this is good news to Kenyans. And we want to reiterate that we continue to comply in the game tomorrow. Quarterfinals is a big game. And therefore, we urge all Kenyans to continue to comply.
Right, and even as you prepare to actually attend that CHAN tournament, here's something that you need to know before you go to sleep tonight. Due to the ongoing African Nations Championship, CHAN 2024, the National Police Service has issued a notice of temporary road closures and traffic diversions across Nairobi this particular Friday, which is tomorrow. The disruptions will affect several key routes, especially those around Thika Superhighway and Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani, where the games are taking place. Motorists traveling from the Nairobi CBD towards Thika Road, including Ruiru, Juja and Thika, are advised to use Kiambu Road via Exit 4. Authorities have confirmed that a roadblock will be in place at Muthaiga. Vehicles using Thika Superhighway and heading to Mwiki should divert through Ruaka Babadogo, Lakisama, Nairobi River Mwiki. Drivers coming from Thika, Juja and Ruiru into the CBD should use either the Northern Bypass or Kiambu Road, as a roadblock will be placed at the Ruiru interchange. Now, those travelling from Githurai to the CBD are advised to take the Githurai 44 towards Kiambu Road route. For those heading to Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani, and do not have a vehicle access passes, you're required to use the service lanes at Exit 7 and Exit 8. Now, the National Police Service says additional officers have been deployed along the affected routes and warns that stern action will be taken against anyone found violating traffic rules.